In the complex arena of global politics, certain conflicts command immediate attention, broadcast across screens for all to see. These are the stories that dominate headlines and shape public perception. Yet, a multitude of other conflicts unfold in the shadows, concealed from the public eye. These are the silent battles, the covert operations, and the unspoken rivalries that shape the world in profound ways. The intricate rivalry between Iran and Israel stands as a prime example of a silent war, carefully hidden behind layers of carefully crafted headlines and meticulously worded official statements. It's a conflict that simmers beneath the surface of international diplomacy. We're often presented with a simplistic narrative, a seemingly straightforward story of good versus evil, a clear-cut case of aggressor versus victim, designed to elicit a specific emotional response. But the reality on the ground is invariably far more complex and nuanced than these simplified portrayals suggest. It's a tangled web of hidden agendas, deeply rooted ancient grievances, and the influence of unseen forces that pull the strings from behind the curtain. The core of the real conflict extends far beyond mere territorial disputes or clashes of ideology. It's fundamentally about the relentless pursuit of influence, the control of vital resources, and the ultimate shaping of the Middle East's future trajectory. A silent battle waged through intelligence agencies, sophisticated cyber attacks, and in some cases, targeted assassinations. These clandestine operations play out continuously, often while the world remains distracted and chooses to look away. The headlines predominantly focus on perceived threats and alleged nuclear ambitions, consistently painting Iran as a rogue state, a narrative that dominates Western media. But what if this dominant narrative is fundamentally incomplete, lacking crucial context and perspective? What if it's deliberately cropped and selectively presented to obscure, inconvenient truths that challenge the established storyline? This is certainly not a simple two-player game with easily defined sides. It's a complex and multifaceted drama involving global superpowers, powerful multinational corporations, and a network of secretive interests, all vying for control. Many of these actors directly profit from the ongoing chaos, ensuring that the conflict simmers perpetually, never truly resolving. Every move on this geopolitical chessboard is meticulously calculated, but the crucial question remains: by whom? Are the decisions truly being made by the political leaders we see on television, or are they merely puppets controlled by more powerful forces operating behind the scenes? The truth, as always, is fragmented and elusive, and the mainstream media often offers only a carefully curated selection of convenient pieces, obscuring the bigger picture. To truly understand the nature of this shadow war, we must actively search for what's deliberately missing from the official narrative. We must critically question the dominant narrative and challenge the assumptions that underpin it. Only by daring to look into the darkness that lies between the sensational headlines can we begin to glimpse the contours of the real story. The world stage is meticulously set, but the script is largely written and directed by those who prefer to remain unseen and unaccountable. The real story, the one that truly matters, unfolds in the quiet, dark spaces, far removed from the glare of the media spotlight and the clamor of public opinion. To understand today's complex conflicts in the Middle East, we need to look beyond the surface. We must revisit the past, peel back the layers of propaganda, and examine the relationships that have been deliberately obscured. Iran and Israel were once allies, sharing intelligence, coordinating on regional security, and viewing each other as strategic partners. They engaged in robust trade, fostering economic ties that benefited both nations. They also shared common interests, particularly in containing Soviet influence and maintaining stability in the region. Before the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Iran under the Shah was one of Israel's closest regional partners, a relationship built on mutual benefit and shared geopolitical objectives. This history is rarely mentioned. It complicates the narrative of eternal enmity, challenging the simplistic portrayal of an inevitable clash. The revolution shattered the old order, turning Iran into an Islamic republic and a perceived threat to Western interests, particularly due to its anti-imperialist stance. Overnight, a former ally became the ultimate villain, demonized in Western media and cast as a pariah state. This transformation wasn't accidental, it was strategic, serving those who wanted to control the region's vast oil resources and maintain their geopolitical dominance. The old friendship was erased, replaced by suspicion and fear, fueled by propaganda and political maneuvering. Iran's rich history was reduced to a caricature, its people painted as fanatics, and its culture misrepresented to justify hostility. The roots of this conflict are not just ideological, they're tangled in colonialism, the legacy of Western powers carving up the Middle East for their own gain, the Cold War, with its proxy battles and superpower rivalry, and the ongoing struggle for sovereignty, as nations sought to break free from foreign control and chart their own course. Iran's defiance challenged a global order built for others' benefit, a system designed to maintain the status quo and suppress dissent. The hostility that followed was manufactured, not inevitable, a product of political manipulation and orchestrated tensions. The story of Iran and Israel is one of lost alliances and rewritten history, a cautionary tale of how political agendas can distort the truth. It's about a nation daring to reclaim its destiny, and the powerful forces determined to stop it, fearing the implications of a truly independent Iran. The past is buried because it threatens the present narrative, exposing the self-serving motives behind the current state of affairs. To see the truth, we must dig deeper than the headlines allow, challenging the accepted narrative and seeking out the hidden facts. Who truly benefits from endless conflict between Iran and Israel? The answer lies beyond Jerusalem or Tehran. It's the global arms industry thriving on instability. Every threat is a business opportunity, peace is bad for business. The Middle East's resources are coveted by financial empires that fear a unified, independent region. Divide and conquer keeps the wealth and power flowing to those already in control. Intelligence agencies, CIA, MI6, Mossad, have long manipulated the region, orchestrating coups and arming insurgencies. The Iran-Israel conflict justifies their existence and budgets. These forces, the military-industrial complex, financial elites, and intelligence networks, are the architects of animosity. They script the roles world leaders play and shape public opinion through media control. Iran is cast as the aggressor, Israel as the victim, and the world is kept on edge. This conflict isn't inevitable, it's a managed, profitable enterprise. The real beneficiaries remain in the shadows, pulling the strings. Sustaining conflict requires a villain, and for decades Iran has filled that role. A global propaganda machine amplifies fear, cherry-picks facts, and silences dissent. Iran is reduced to a caricature, its diversity and humanity erased. Repetition cements the narrative. Iran equals terrorism, nuclear threats, instability. Any Iranian defense is dismissed as propaganda. Accusations against it are accepted as fact. This demonization justifies sanctions, covert operations, and military threats. When a nation is painted as a monster, any action against it is framed as self-defense. The victims are not just Iranians, but the truth itself. Governments, media corporations, lobbyists, and think tanks collaborate to reinforce this narrative. An echo chamber is created, making escape from the narrative nearly impossible. Iran is not inherently evil. It's made into a villain because the game demands one. The villain is a tool, not a reality. The real story is far more complicated. The Shadow War extends into cyberspace, where battles are fought in silence. The Stuxnet worm, discovered in 2010, was a digital missile targeting Iran's nuclear facilities. Its sophistication pointed to nation-state actors, likely a partnership. Stuxnet opened the door to relentless cyber attacks on Iran power grids, communications, government databases. These attacks are ghosts, causing chaos, leaving no fingerprints. Each is a message, nowhere is safe. When Iran is accused of hacking, it's proof of malice. When Iran is attacked, the world is silent. The digital battlefield is the most mysterious front, anonymous soldiers, invisible weapons, real-world consequences. Stuxnet blurred the line between digital and physical warfare. In this new war, truth is the first casualty. Blame becomes a political tool, not a matter of evidence. The cyber war is fought in darkness, and the narrative is tightly controlled. The nuclear issue is the most powerful tool against Iran. For years, the world has been told Iran is on the brink of building a bomb. This claim justifies sanctions, isolation, and threats of war. Yet evidence for a weapons program is ambiguous, often from sources with an agenda. Iran's leaders have issued religious bans on nuclear weapons and allowed intrusive inspections. Meanwhile, Israel, widely believed to have nuclear arms, faces no such scrutiny. The 2015 nuclear deal proved Iran's willingness to cooperate but was abandoned under pressure. The real goal, prevent a resurgent independent Iran, not just a bomb. The nuclear narrative is a pretext for regime change and control. It's about power, not just weapons. The Iran-Israel conflict rarely erupts directly. It simmers beneath the surface, a constant undercurrent of tension. Instead, it's fought through proxies across the region. a shadow war waged by surrogates. These conflicts often mask the true nature of the struggle. Syria, a nation ravaged by years of war, Lebanon, struggling with political instability, Iraq, still recovering from past conflicts, and Yemen, embroiled in a devastating civil war, are all battlegrounds for this shadow war. The narrative often pushed is that Iran funds terror to destabilize the region, fueling chaos and unrest. But the reality is more complex. Groups like Hezbollah and the Houthis often arise from legitimate local grievances, not just solely from Iranian influence. Iran's support is often framed as defensive, a way to deter perceived threats and project influence without resorting to direct war. The term proxy is frequently used to delegitimize Iran's alliances, while similar actions by other nations are often praised or justified. Every major power plays this game of influence and strategic maneuvering, but the focus disproportionately remains on Iran. The real victims in all of this are the people of these nations, caught in a complex and brutal conflict not of their making. Their suffering is often overlooked and ignored as the grand game continues, a silent tragedy unfolding. The architects of this chaos often remain hidden in the shadows, directing the violence while publicly decrying it. To truly see the truth, we must look past simplistic labels and recognize the devastating real cost of this conflict. Ultimately, this proxy war is a profound tragedy, not a clever strategy, and its consequences will be felt for generations to come. The real decisions are made behind closed doors, far from public view. Public talk of democracy and rights masks the true motives, energy, strategy, and economic gain. Iran's location and resources make it a target for those seeking control. Powerful lobbies in the West push for hardline policies, shaping opinion and sabotaging diplomacy. Media corporations amplify these narratives, marginalizing dissent. A feedback loop is created. Lobbyists, media, and politicians reinforce each other. The goal: prevent a multipolar world and keep a few nations in control. An independent Iran allied with rising powers threatens this order. The conflict with Israel is used to justify isolation and military presence. The real conversations are about power, not principle. The public sees only the surface. We're shown a world of heroes and villains, but reality is far more complex. The Iran-Israel conflict is not the story you've been told. To find the truth, ask who profits from fear and division, who gains from endless war. Follow the money, question the headlines, and challenge the official story. Iran is not a rogue state, but a civilization fighting for sovereignty. Understanding requires unlearning propaganda and seeing the humanity behind the masks. Seek alternative sources, listen to silenced voices, and think critically. The forces keeping you in the dark are powerful, but your mind is your own. What we've explored is just the first layer. Deeper truths remain. The game continues, and the stakes are high. Don't accept the simple story. Keep questioning, keep watching, and look for the secrets yet to be revealed. The real story is still unfolding.